It would be nice if we could have each other's backs, right?
Yeah.
Rise and shine on, you lovely people. Lisa here, and it is time to break down episode 3 of Good Trouble, called Allies. So this episode, we of course have tension still at work for both girls, but now we have Mariana and Callie trying to figure out just who is their ally at work and who isn't. Plus, we get the return of a familiar face. It was great having Jude back last episode. This episode, we're getting Bo Murchoff, who reprises his role as Jamie, and you can kind of smell the jealousy and games brewing. So let's go ahead and get started. So as we head into the ruling about the Jamal Thompson case and whether it will be dismissed or go to trial, we have Malika continuing to advocate for Jamal and his family. She's making a big splash on social media, and it gets her noticed by none other than Jamal's mom. And in a way, Malika ends up kind of becoming one of the faces for justice in this case alongside Jamal's mom and lawyer. Now, as far as the storyline we saw with her starting last week, she's also still avoiding texts from her brother Dom about coming to see their mom. Now, Malika even gets sent a photo of her and Dom when they were little and in happier times from an unknown number, and it happens to be her mom. But instead of going to see her mom, Malika opts to celebrate the ruling of the Jamal case with his family, and then ends up leaving a voicemail for Dom saying that she's sorry she didn't come, but that she hopes her brother understands and that they can be a part of each other's lives because she wants that, but she just can't let their mom back into her life right now. Now, with Malika kind of becoming a more recognizable face in the Jamal case, I mean, her face is on the news and all of that, you know that's going to be a tricky situation with Callie, who is clerking the case. I mean, when Callie walks into the kitchen and Malika is talking about the case with the other roommates, you can feel the awkwardness. And then by the end of the episode, you kind of feel like their relationship is not going to make things easy for Callie at work or at home. But first, what happens when Callie goes into work after having missed coming in over the weekend? Well, it turns out that Rebecca didn't put her own name on the memo she wrote. When Judge Wilson calls the three of them into his office, Rebecca says they all wrote the memo and it was a group effort. And Judge Wilson actually tells them, nice teamwork. So, is Rebecca covering for her or not? Well, Callie goes and asks Rebecca why she's so-called covered for her, and Rebecca says she's not this backstabbing spoiled brat that Ben is trying to make her out to be. Now, it turns out Rebecca did write the conservative argument in the memo, but Callie says, you know what, she's fine with that. She's done being the so-called counter clerk and is going to write memos from Judge Wilson's perspective from now on because she's just tired of all, this drama and stress it's bringing her. So it seems like in this moment that maybe we've misread Rebecca. Maybe it's Ben sabotaging everybody. Maybe Rebecca was actually just thinking she was giving Callie good advice from the start, not realizing exactly maybe how it sounded or what would happen with it. And it seems like Callie does think they need to be allies, but like I said, could we all just be falling right now for maybe some of Rebecca's, mischievous ways? Is she actually trying to help Callie or sabotage her? Because right now, at this point, I'm still a little bit unclear. Then Judge Wilson decides he wants to meet with Callie, and he's not dumb. He knows Callie did not contribute at all to this memo, so he's like, did you just get bulldozed over by Ben or Rebecca, like overpowered, or did you just give up? He then tells Callie to go back and write the memo from her point of view. So it seems like she's still having a little bit of trouble writing her memo, and to add to that, she has her boy problems with Gael because of, Brian. And Brian is friends with Davia, so he's always hanging out at the coterie, and when he hangs out there, he tends to make things a little more awkward, kind of seems like on purpose for Callie and Gael. And as we see at the start of this episode, there's a lot of sexy time still happening between Gael and Callie. They're still hooking up and having fun and having conversations about art. Now, when Gael asks Callie to come up one night, Callie says she can't, she's busy, and so they are like, maybe tomorrow. And instead, Callie decides to go out and get some advice from Jamie, who gives her some great advice about working with Judge Wilson, maybe what his intents are and the meetings, and also with Malika and this Jamal case. And then he does ask her to get dinner sometime, but Callie says that right now she has no time for a personal life. Callie then writes her memo and presents it to Judge Wilson and asks if she was hired as the counter clerk. He says no, and that he actually liked her spark, and that no matter someone's stance, his job and what he wants to do is teach them how to form a well-reasoned argument. Then, during the hearing, Judge Wilson rules to destroy the motion about releasing the 911 tapes, but does decide to not dismiss the case. So while with the 911 tapes, Jamal's family think they have lost, they actually got a big win by him not dismissing this case. So Jamal's case will be going to trial. Now, during this hearing, as they waited to hear what Judge Wilson's verdict would be, Ben noticed Callie looked very nervous and kept looking over at Malika, who was sitting next to Jamal's mom. And Callie's fidgeting with her rings and just looks very anxious. So after Callie leaves, Ben points out to Rebecca that he thinks that Callie knows the girl that was sitting by Jamal's mom. So could Ben and Rebecca now be teaming up to kind of keep an eye on Callie and maybe like take her down in a way, because Callie did kind of snap at Rebecca again after Judge Wilson told Callie she wasn't the counter clerk, and Callie yelled at Rebecca for getting inside of her head and all of this. So yeah, like I said before, even if Rebecca's had good intentions, it just didn't, translate well, and now Callie and her are not allies anymore. It seems like they could be enemies. And with now Ben noticing how Callie acted with Malika in the room, if Malika and Callie ever get photoed together or seen walking to work or the courthouse together, it could be a problem. And well, Callie and Malika, they know they need to keep their distance until the trial is over, but once that's all over, they actually make plans to go get a drink and kind of talk about, their upbringings in the foster system. And, Callie mentioned she had been in juvie 3 times, so there's a lot of good stories that could be shared here. And I'm into this friendship. I'm rooting for it, and I'm hoping that this case does not tear them apart before it's even begun, because I kind of like this dynamic of Callie and Malika. Now, as far as the relationship stuff, and by relationship stuff, I mean, I guess hooking up stuff, because none of them are in an exclusive relationship, Gael and Brian, they have a talk about where they stand, and I guess they make up, but in that process of, making up, Gael forgets that, maybe he had plans with Callie that night, and she actually sees them leave together, so she knows that he's busy with Brian. Callie then decides to take up Jamie on his offer for dinner, and what do you know, they meet at the same restaurant that Gael and Brian actually happen to be having drinks at the bar at. So there's some awkward waving, and it's like, hey, do you know that guy? And it's like, yeah, he lives in my building. There's some glances with Brian, who's like, I know this game that's being played. And I have a feeling this is just gonna be very dramatic as it plays out. But would you expect anything less with this show? Something else we learn about Gael in this episode, we get to meet his sister, Jasmine. So Jasmine is transgender and is having trouble at work, even though she's like amazing at her job. I think one of the top salespeople and all that. They still very much do not accept Jasmine and who she is. It also seems that she is estranged from their parents. So she's kind of meeting with Gael to ask him for $1,800 because she's behind on her rent and bills. And even though she says Gael should be doing, his art for work, what she doesn't know is that by her asking him for money, he's kind of having to put his art dreams on the back burner, because we see he's been working on this, sculpture the whole time, and he's going to cast it in bronze. It's going to cost $2,000, and he ends up, breaking that sculpture. Seems like he has a real tough time with what's going on, and he has to use that money that he was going to use to bronze that statue to give to his sister. So he's pretty frustrated about that whole situation. So maybe we'll learn more about Gael's family life moving forward. Lastly, now for Mariana versus the bro holes. When she walks into work, Alex acts like nothing happened, because you remember Mariana was leaving all those voicemails trying to right her wrongs, but you shouldn't do that when you're drunk and panicking and all of that. So like Alex acts like nothing happened, while Raj, he seems to be the one of the 3 who's not a jerk like Alex and Sam, and he actually tries to befriend Mariana, be an ally for her. Now, when the team is told that Evan liked their idea Alex pitched, Mariana confronts Alex because she's like, this idea sounds familiar. It's something she pitched to him when she was leaving voicemails on his phone drunkenly during the party. Now, Alex, he tries to play dumb and says, great minds must think alike, and that he didn't get any voicemails. Yeah, call him bullshit on that whole thing. So then Mariana, she walks into the hallway and she sees Evan Speck, the guy that runs Speculate, and she starts having the flashbacks of their awkward elevator encounter. So she's like, not gonna make that happen again. So she goes and hides. And there she ends up getting some advice from Casey, who says that Mariana should just be patient and work harder than the boys, and eventually she'll get noticed. So that's kind of crap, but I feel like that's what you see in a lot of these fields, unfortunately. Casey also tells Mariana to make some allies, so Mariana does try to do this with Raj. Mariana then puts in the effort, the work harder part that Casey suggested, and Mariana stays late at work. And as much as she tries to avoid Evan, she does run right into him during her late night at the office and spills her coffee all over him, causing him to drop his phone. They both go reach for it, they bump heads, and then she goes and gets it, and then when she picks it up, she's like, oh crap. And they see that the screen is fully cracked. Now from the teaser, they showed this scene last week. Yeah, they made it seem like she saw something crazy on his phone, like something she shouldn't see. It ended up just being a cracked screen, so it's like, damn you teasers, you got me again. Well, then later during a presentation Gael's giving, the blue team gets called out for their excellent work on finishing all 3 phases of their project, doing a great job, and Alex takes all the credit, like gets all the praise. But Evan in the meeting, we see him kind of look over at Mariana, who's trying to, not be noticed in this meeting, and he kind of looks at her, and I feel like he's got this look on his face like he has a hunch that she did a lot of the work because she was the one at the office so late at night. Evan then goes to talk to Josh, asking if Mariana was the girl who wanted to pitch him an app, and it turns out that this Josh guy is the real snake here because he says, yeah, I reached out to her, she didn't answer back. So here we have Mariana thinking this whole time that the guy that created this company reported her to HR and hates her, when really it's this Josh guy who didn't even carry out because Evan must have told him, hey, set up a meeting with this girl, and Josh didn't do it. Instead, he reported Mariana to HR. So I'm just hoping, Evan gets rid of this shady Josh guy, and maybe, Mariana proves herself. She already has, and Evan, ends up seeing Mariana's smarts and potential and gets rid of this whole sexism at the job place, because it seems like Evan is kind of clueless to actually what's going on within the workplace. Anyway, back to what's going on here. Mariana ends up getting yelled at by Alex because now everyone will expect the team to always do their work that fast and that well, so Mariana, she just can't win with this whole situation. And then when Raj tries to apologize for the guys, Mariana calls out Raj for going along with Alex and Sam all the time and then trying to play the good guy behind their backs. And right here, I was like, yes, Mariana, you go. So now Mariana's decided to take one of her friend's advice and, just go ahead and take her great pay and do little work, because when she does too much work, she gets yelled at. So she might as well enjoy herself. So while oftentimes Mariana is actually one of my least favorite characters, this episode I totally understood her frustrations at work. I've been in similar situations, people not giving you a chance, not realizing your potential, shooting you down. Yeah, and I'm just glad that she called out Raj, because there's always those people too that, while they have good intentions, don't realize that they're actually enabling the behavior. But I do hope that she figures out that Evan isn't the one who doesn't like her and doesn't want her to succeed, that there's other people who are threatened by her higher up, these guys that are making things worse for everybody. Now for Callie, is it bad that I actually do like Jamie a little bit more at this point, and I'm kind of rooting for that relationship? I mean, yes, it would be a little weird because, Jamie's sister's married to Brandon and that whole situation. But Jamie seems like a genuinely nice guy. He likes Callie and he just seems like he would kind of be drama free. But then again, Gael's hot, and he seems like a good guy too, but he's got the drama all around him, and we know that Callie is just drawn to drama, and I think that would actually be an interesting relationship to watch, right? So I don't know, Team Jamie, Team Gael, Team all of them, I don't know. What I do know though is that I kind of want Brian to stop meddling and doing what he does. Yes, I get, and that's why open relationships I never understand, because I feel like people just get jealous, but if it works for you, it works for you. Good for you. But right now, Brian's kind of playing this petty game, and it's like they understand. They're like, we're in open relationships, it's fine. So, but don't lie to me or I'll play games with you. It's just very confusing, and I think this is why I'm single and avoid relationships, because I'll never understand them and they just frustrate me. Anyway, I think that's done with my rambling for now. Let's go ahead and look at some of the promo for next week.
Are you doing this interview?
Yeah, we sort of have to.
And you're fine with saying how diverse and inclusive the culture is here?
But if I do, that'll just make things worse.
They want to know what it's like to work here, I'm gonna tell them. And if I get fired, then at least someone had the guts to speak up.
Oh man, Mariana, now she definitely does not bite her tongue. A lot of times that tongue gets her in trouble, and instead she's more of that like foot and mouth later type person. So I'm hoping right now that whatever she does with this interview and talking about the workplace doesn't actually end up blowing up in her face. It could help her, but it'll also really hurt her. But the fact that she's like doesn't care if she gets fired, she just wants people to know the truth. I do admire her for that, because that's not because that's not an easy thing to decide to do. You're risking your job for this, maybe even reputation. You could be blacklisted other places. So if she does this, I gotta give her major props. But now it is time for you to let me know your thoughts on this week's episode. Do you think Ben and Rebecca will team up against Callie and expose her for knowing Malika? What would you do if you were in Mariana's situation at work? And are you Team Jamie or are you Team Gael right now? And let me know all your thoughts and feelings down in the comments. Then you can click right over here for even more of my videos. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss any interviews that I do, recaps, and all that good stuff. As always, my name's Lisa. I'll see you guys again next time.